Hello, it's a little while since I put myself on camera. I've been doing quite a bit off camera, so let's have a look and see what I've been up to. Well, as you can see, quite a bit has changed. We've got the big tree on the left, the smaller tree on the right with the barn in front of it, and I'll just show you now how I did some of that. So let's go in first. In the back corner there we've got the sheep field, now complete with a shepherd and his nice brand spanking new Land Rover. Just in front of that I planted a new hedge there, this side of the road, and as you can see there's also a bit where it was a bit low, and they've mended it by putting a spile in and a cross bar just to block the gap up so the animals don't get through. And here we have my first attempt at making the old twisted wire copper wire tree, which I'm quite pleased with. That's turned out pretty well actually. Let's see if we can zoom right in there and you can see the trunks inside. Oh, it's just getting out of focus now, so we'll have to come back a little bit. There you can just see the trunks inside there. Unfortunately it's over the top of where I'd put Howsham Church and the windmill on the back scene, where you can still see the windmill there, but the church you have to be standing quite high to see that, so I think I may paint that out and put it over on the back scene further over there. Coming back down, we have in the front here the beginnings of the ploughed field. Now, as you'll see from the cutaway pictures, I've made that 2 layers of cardboard with a groove cut out round, which on this shows up as a dark line running round, and that's the marker cut with the plough all the way around the field, so that the ploughman can then work from there when he's ploughing. And that's all according to the Ferguson ploughing manual. Now we come up across here to the cattle field. As you can see, I've got my Guernseys. I'm still not convinced about the colour of them. I might need to tone them down a bit. I think they're a little bit bright. And you see the two there grazing up against the electric fence. And I'm calling this one here Mary Rose, after a cow that we did have who was always up to mischief, and I think she's doing a bit of train spotting at the moment. Then we work our way across. I think you've seen this before, the trees at Knight's Nurseries, complete with the sign and the telegraph in the road, telegraph pole, and then there's Horsebridge Mill in the background there. And I've done a smaller tree here on the twisted wire principle again. I'm not quite as pleased with that one, but it's doing the job. It's hiding where the track goes through the back scene, particularly of course the trolley wire. And then moving down here we've got a pole barn, so cool because it was built with telegraph poles for the posts, and then you put bits of 5x2, 6x2 timber across, which you can see there with the struts, and that's corrugated iron finish. And as you'll see from the photo I'm popping in now, it's weathered down on top, and it's pretty much as I remember our tin roof when we were farming. Some of the black bitumastic paint would wear off and you'd get the galvanised showing through, and other places of course it would rust. I think I've got that, and you can see there the single sheet that has been replaced. That will have a man on top, hopefully with a hammer in hand, just banging in the last spring head nail to finish the repair. And on the right there we've got our stack of hay bales, and again, as you'll see from the cutaway, how that was built out of cereal packet and various things, and that finish on it is 2mm static grass, but not with the static applicator, just shaken straight over the glue. so it lays fairly flat, and then with the end of a pencil dragged at an angle, not upright as though you were writing, but quite a shallow angle, that was dragged across to create the grooves in between the bales. And you see it's also stacked like bricks, as we used to do when stacking hay bales, so that the stack didn't fall over. And then tucked in there we've got a Ferguson brown. Unfortunately it's missing one of its front wheels, so it's blocked up on some old bits of sleeper and whatever while they get the wheel repaired. Can't really see it. Well, you can just about. That the back is corrugated, and what I did there, because the back of the shed is not facing the audience, I turned the sheet of Will's corrugated sheet round so the corrugations are facing this way, and then just dabbed a few bits of brown on to make it look as though it's beginning to rust on the inside there. Right, now I'm going to put some static grass on the ploughed field for the bits that haven't been ploughed, which is actually most of it. It's just got that brown thing round the side. Now, before I used one of these static shaker things, and it was okay, but the grass didn't really stand up properly. So I have invested in the Woodland Scenics static grass thing, and I did that with that piece in there, which stood up very nicely. So I've got some 2mm light green in here, and I'm going to apply that. Right, as you'll see, I've taken the tree out of the way. That was only put in there temporarily, so I can gain access. So I'll put some of the static grass stuff around. Oh, I think I should have shaken that. Does that say? Yes, it does say shake. Right, so let's do a little shake, rattle and roll. It's a bit too liquid on there, and it's going in the groove, which is where I don't want it. Moral of that story is always read the instructions. Right, let's just get that thin stuff around there first, and then we'll have to come back with some thicker later. Right, so that's got that done. Now we put the spaceship device, which I call it, which is going to be a bit difficult, because the trouble is you can end up with a shadow where cast by this thing, so I'm going to have to put it there and then probably move it. Right, so let's have a quick go with this. So we hook the earth terminal on there, and I think we'll just move that over that way so it's not going to get in the way of the device. We turn it on, which all lights up, and then we go like that. Now I'm going to have to move this so that I can do that bit there. There we go. So as you can see, I've got the grass in place. There's some slightly bare patches in place, but that doesn't matter because it's a field that's ready for ploughing, so it is looking a bit thin. It's been grazed down hard, so we're ready to put in round here the soil that's been turned over to make the marker cut round the outside of the field. And what I'm going to use for that is a bit of this corduroy material, came off a dress of my wife's from when she was a teenage girl years ago, and so I'm going to cut along the grooves, just make a thin strip of material which I will then stick onto the inner edge there, because you turned it inward, so that when the plough had something to dig into then at the beginning of each furrow. So I'm going to cut that and then we'll come back to it. Cut 5 pieces out, which I think is going to be long enough to put around there. So what I've done, I'm going to glue this side, the backing, so to speak, of the corduroy, not the corduroy side itself, so that the corduroy side actually sticks outwards. Now I'm going to try to avoid getting too much glue on the front of the corduroy, is actually put a very thin stream of glue on this piece of card, then grab it backing side down and drop it in the glue like that, so it picks up a layer of glue. Now I've got to try and pick the thing up again without getting glue all over the face of it, and then we put it in. I need to get my little spike, I think. So I can just move that along. There we are. And we put it on there so it's turned, the plough's turned the soil out from in here, and it's turned it over, brown side up, as we say, green side down, obviously, and that, just got to put it in place. And by happy accident, when I glued those 2 layers of card, it's produced a slightly bumpy field, because no field is absolutely flat unless it's a cricket field, and even then those of you who play cricket will no doubt tell me there's some cricket fields that are not particularly flat either. Well, there we are. That's got it all the way around. It's not perfect, but then in ploughing it's not, especially when you do the corners, because you have to come along, reverse, plough that bit, reverse, plough that bit, and then follow the curves around. So that's it. Eventually I'm going to have a row of red and white striped poles running down here, with a tractor here and plough, and the ploughman will be making some adjustments prior to, because you have to have the plough set up one way to do the opening split and then you adjust it back to normal ploughing after that as you go round and round, because the plough won't be moving, of course, it's not a fallow road system, the plough will be static, and that's the reason, because he's making his adjustments. So there we are, but I'm in the middle of making that kit and I'm struggling with it a bit at the moment. It's white metal, and it's not proving the easiest of kits to put together, but we'll come back to that later.